So you guys have heard our spiel about chiropractic, and I think most people innately understand how the body works. You have signals that are created in your brain, they go down your spinal cord, they leave all the nerves in your spine, 31 pair of nerves, and they go to everything, your heart, liver, lungs, kidneys, every cell, organ, gland in your body, right? And that's what gives you life. But what happens is that magical word called subluxation sounds like something train station. All it means is it's like a kink in your spine that puts pressure on one of those nerves leading to one of your organs, glands, tissues, whatever. And those are caused by stress. The most common is mental and emotional stress. You're stressed out at work, you're stressed out at home, whatever. Physical stress, I think most people get that. You're in a car accident, you tweak your neck, you're like, oh, that's not good. I understand that's not good. And chemical stress is a big one. We have a lot of chemicals in our environment. So don't purposely put them in your body if you can avoid that, because you get enough by default. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna have fun. Like, I think, who was it? Oh, it was Jen last week said she was the one from Advanced Duct Cleaning, and she was like, how do you make duct cleaning fun? And I was like, had a ton of ideas. I was like, that sounds pretty fun actually. But that's really our goal, is to help people talk about health in a fun way, because it can be dry, I think. Okay, so we're gonna do some experiments, kind of like when you were in 4th grade. So it's gonna be fun. We thought about everybody having their own little thing and doing it, but it just wouldn't work for time and probably mess.
So Jean is a stomach. Oh.
It's a good thing. Okay, so what we're gonna do, so what system controls how your stomach works? Nervous system, right? You're gonna see a sign a lot. So nervous system controls how your stomach works. So let's pretend, come closer. So let's pretend that that's a stomach, and my mom made this bread, so there's no crust. No, I was kidding. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pretend that we're chewing up this bread and sticking it in your stomach, right? So when you digest anything, where does digestion start? When you first start to chew, right? So when you first start to chew, it's physically ground up by your teeth, but also from your saliva. Did you know that when you first start to smell or think about food, your saliva starts to change? We've heard that, right? So, ooh, you're a fast chewer. So,
slow. It's bad for you to eat fast.
Digesting quicker. When your saliva changes, it's based on the kind of food that you're eating. Whether you're eating a steak or a piece of broccoli, your saliva is literally different. So enzymes are created in your saliva to break down your food, goes down in your stomach, and certain acids are created to break down whatever kind of food you're eating. So what controls both the saliva and the stomach acid?
Nervous system.
Nervous system. Ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
Okay, so that's true. So what we're going to do is we're going to simulate one, let's you do the bad one. So let's say that there's a subluxation, nerve going to the stomach isn't working the way it's supposed to. So can the saliva profile be the way it's supposed to if there's a sick nerve going to it? No. Can the profile in the stomach, the amount and types of acid be correct? Probably not so much. So a little bit of saliva. And a lot of saliva. Vinegar represents stomach acid. No, it's good. Yeah, you're totally gonna do that in a second too. So let's just say there's a little bit of stomach acid in that one. Yeah, you can seal it up and start digesting it. Let's say there's the perfect amount of stomach acid. Oh, who knows how much stomach acid is supposed to be in your stomach at any one time? Nobody. That's the only answer, right? What does know?
Your nervous system.
The only thing that knows is your nervous system. So depending on how warm the food you ate, what kind of food it is, what it's made up of, the only thing that knows is your nervous system.
You don't want air in your stomach.
So yeah, let's break these things down. So in case anybody didn't pick up on this yet, we're making poop. We really are, it's fun. So,
What knows how to make poop?
Yeah. Nervous system. Okay. So,
Mine first.
yours first?
No,
That's
you're
perfect.
digesting. Be working harder.
Let's pretend that you weren't working very hard. We'll let you work really good.
You're subluxated, so.
No, she's not. Her stomach was.
No, stomach.
Okay. So, let's say, yeah, you can just keep doing that. So let's say this is food that's going into your colon to make
Poop.
Okay. So I know, right? Your colon squishes water out. It actually extracts water out. Okay. And so what you're left with is whatever it wasn't digested or absorbed. So would you want your food to be? Why would you want your food to be digested well? I think most people
Get the nutrients out of it.
Exactly. Like you can't. Like how else? You can't live. We always say you are what you eat as we're eating the Big Mac or whatever. Like you know what I mean? Like it's true. Like you are what you eat. So you want your food. And a lot of people tell me this. They'll come in and they'll be like, I've got these food allergies. I've got these problems. I've got all these host of things. 10 minutes left. Thanks. And then they'll say, I don't understand. I've been doing, my diet is perfect. I eat all organic, grass-fed, non-GMO. I have food combined this way. And I mean, they do have it pretty dialed in. I'm like, wow, good for you. But they still have digestive issues. Well, what if the nerve going to any part of their digestive tract is not working the way it's supposed to, right? So, partially undigested food, we're just gonna pretend that's kind of gross poop. Partially undigested food isn't gonna give you the nutrients, all the building blocks that you need for life. John Wayne, you guys ever hear a gross stat about him when he died?
Steak.
What?
Steak in the colon.
Well, how much steak in the colon?
I don't know. 7, I'm making it up as
He had
ton.
25 pounds of impacted feces in his colon when he died. Which meant like he was still pooping, but there was poop like lined up on the side of the walls that was never going anywhere. It's just gonna be there. So that's the...
Is that why he died?
No, but it's not good for your health. It rots in your stomach and in your intestines, and it creates molds and bacteria and parasites and a bunch of other stuff, and it leads to sickliness. Like people will be like, I don't know what's going on. My energy is just not quite right. And so, quiz question: like we eat. Let's just pretend we eat 3 times a day. Some people are different. Some eat more or less. But let's say you eat 3 times a day. How many times a day should you poop?
3.
2 or 3.
3, right? Yeah. And a lot of people, I'm not even kidding. I talk to people. They're like, wow, a little baby. Oh my goodness, 11 or 12-month-old kid, pooping once a week.
Oh.
No bueno, right? Like whatever's left in there is rotten. Like that's gross. So, this is fun. So let's say that you have really well-digested foods. Not only are you getting the nutrients out, which is really the main point, but it's leaving. We'll just say that. Stay there. It's leaving your body. Anybody else on that? It's leaving your body, and what's left is really just like super. This isn't really poop, so just. What's left?
I was like, oh my gosh.
Thanks for not using pumpernickel bread.
What's left? I know, right?
The immune system would say
Yeah. So what's left is it's like just nothing. Like your poop should be. There's certain consistencies your poop should be. We're not going to really get into that, but it should be like easy and well formed and have a smell like poop and not be like, oh my goodness, what is that? Like what happened? It should just kind of like be there. Like it shouldn't be like a focus of like, oh, I can't poop or I poop too easily or whatever. So proper digestion is just a side benefit of a healthy nervous system, right?
So now we're going to play a little game called telephone. You only get to tell the person next to you the message once, and you cannot ask it to be repeated. Get it? Can you move your chair in just a little bit?
You guys remember how to play telephone, right?
Okay, you got to whisper it. Jean?
This is our scout.
You're like, that's not fair.
We gotta go. I don't have a lot of time.
That's a lot of stuff.
Are you getting it right? Are you getting it right?
I
You better hurry up.
totally not what Jean said. I know when break down.
You know what the problem is?
Stop luxation.
I think there's a change from there.
What's our message?
Okay, what do you got?
You really want to know?
Yes.
Bethany is sexy.
It's supposed to be.
No, that was right.
It's supposed to be. Mary, married Marky Mark in March. Bouncing baby Bradley was born. He likes algebraic equations. F2 plus pi minus a rhinoceros equals cabbage egg rolls. Now, if you think about 70 trillion messages a day, 70 trillion messages a second go through your spinal cord, it has to do something harder than that. It has to do really, really hard stuff. So imagine if you don't have a clear message and a body that can actually handle all those things, which is handled from your
Nervous system.
then things aren't always going to go right. Right?
Who's good at math? I won't put you on the spot necessarily, but if you can help us out, because I forget the number, to be honest. So at any one given moment, not in a second, but in any given, we could freeze time for a moment and measure the amount of signals in the spinal cord. It's 17 trillion. What is 1% of 17 trillion? Because I really can't remember. I think it's 1.7 billion.
Yeah.
1.7 billion?
Sounds
Sounds close enough? It's a huge number, whatever it is. So sometimes people are like, my body's working pretty good. Well, if your body's working 99% efficient, that means 1.7 billion signals at any one given time are not getting where they're supposed to be, right? That's not, like, good, right? I want my body to be 100% all the time, like, yes, please. So we in chiropractic, we have this thing, if you guys have seen this in my office, we call it the safety pin cycle. I don't know how we came up with that name. I really do know. It's a safety pin. So brain has to send signals down to organs, glands, and tissues, but there has to be a feedback loop, right? Where signals send this back up to the brain. If that loop is broken, aka Bethany's whispering in your ear and you're trying to get some nursery rhyme correct, it's not going to go very well, right? And you're going to lose probably 1% of the data or a lot more. So if signals are telling your heart how to function and the heart is giving feedback back to the brain that's not appropriate, that's the only thing your brain plays off of is the feedback. You know, the heart's saying, I'm beating too fast, and it's like, oh wait, slow it down. Or, you know, and if that's not a correct signal, then your heart's not going to function the way it's supposed to. So that's why we want our safety pins to always be closed.
Speaking of your heart,
Okay, so squish this thing just a little bit, just kind of like that. Does everybody have one? Awesome. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to put this on your left wrist. Put your wrist either in your lap or on the table where you can relax your hand. And does everybody know how to find your pulse? Between the outside of your wrist and the middle where those tendons are, kind of right in there is where the easiest place to find your pulse. So you're going to set this thing on that. Literally just lay it there. So you're just like looking kind of like that. Okay? Then you're going to stick one of those things in it.
don't poke yourself.
Okay. When your arm is at rest, yeah, just anywhere, it doesn't really matter. Now, mine's not going to do it because I'm talking and stuff, but just watch yours and see if you can see your pulse on it.
Yeah, you can see it. Wow.
Yeah, like that's awesome.
Good
Isn't
heart
that
rate,
crazy?
Catherine.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
your heart's all working, that's good. So, now, isn't that cool? So now what we're going to do is simulate what it looks like if there's a sick nerve going to your heart. And heart problems in our country are like rampant, right? And a lot of it's diet related, we're all going to acknowledge that. But what if the nerves to your heart aren't functioning the way they're supposed to? So take 2 fingers from your opposite hand, right before, closest to your heart, before that thing, just push down really hard and watch how your pulse changes. If you push it hard enough, it'll stop for a second. That's kind of weird, watching your pulse stop in your hand. Right? So, would you want your nerve system to be healthy going to your heart to make sure it's healthy, or would you want it to be sick? I don't want to be sick, right? But it's the most common side effect that we see in people that have high blood pressure is they either are completely able to eliminate their blood pressure meds or they reduce them radically. And that's people that came in for other reasons, but if we make sure that their nerves to their heart are functioning, then that's
And
what we want
what tells your heart to work? Your nervous system.
Nervous system. Okay.
Next, everybody, stand up.
Okay, so everybody knows, I think everybody knows, that power that's in our body, one way to measure it is we can actually measure electricity being made in our body. They say if you could harness all the electricity that's being made in your body for any one given time frame, like an hour or whatever, you could keep it all, not just because it's being used up, but if you could keep it, you could do some serious stuff with it. Like we're making some serious energy. You could power cities and stuff like that. That's never gonna happen. We're not gonna be able to harness it because we need it ourselves. But we're gonna do something really fun. Everybody hold hands. Okay, so, and this is like, not the airy-fairy or metaphysical, but we're all energy and we all conduct energy by the simple fact of looking at this thing.
Wow.
Right? Pretty crazy. So, hold on to that thing. Well, before I do that, because it gets really loud, Malia, let one of your hands go. Now, hold that person's hand.
Wow. Wow.
Right? And you can do it with your finger. Like, just use one finger.
Touch your ear.
Wow.
Right? yeah. So and if you do
Oh my
yourself hair as
God.
well. So, because sometimes people are like, I don't know, how do you measure it? How do you talk about it? Whatever. You guys can have a seat. It's real. It's like energy. It's electrical energy that's going through our body that controls and coordinates all the functions that we have. So we have 5 minutes for questions, right?
No.
Oh, we don't. Okay, cool.
We're good.
We have 13 minutes before the end of the meeting.
Okay, good.
Oh.
Then that's the main point though, is we want our nervous system to function the best it can all the time, regardless if we have symptoms. And that's kind of my big thing, and people that know me know that I try to get people to understand that you want your nervous system to be healthy, because we're nervous system doctors, chiropractors are, as opposed to back and headache and neck pain doctors. And we help a lot of people with that, and that's kind of easy, but for the most part, we really want people to function better. So, thank you.